Okay, so this is my statistics project. So I chose for my data from the U.S. National Library of Medicine Institutes, U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. So it's titled Trends in U.S. Home Food Preparation and Consumption Analysis of National Nutrition Surveys and Time Use Studies from 1965 to 66 to 2007 through 2008. So as I went through this study, it was actually pretty interesting. The idea was to compare and contrast the amount of food eaten at home versus away from home by over time period, by gender, by age, and by income as well. So these are there's more than 6, but there's a bunch of national nutrition surveys. So this is technically a convenient sample that they found because these are surveys that have been done a while ago, but of course because it's back in the day, those numbers are going to change. So they have their sample size for each time period. They have the percentage that were male in each of the studies, and the age groups, as well as the income of the people in each study. So, okay, we'll just go over to the next one. So they actually have this out. The idea of this is that more people are eating away from home than they should, or than they used to. So as you can see here, you have your low income group, middle income and high income. But in your low income, you can see a little dip in calories overall consumed. Then we have a peak of calories. And as you can see here, your lighter gray is the amount of calories eaten away from home. And so as you can see over time, it's gotten more so. So back in 65, 66, we were eating 5% of calories away from home, whereas now in 2003, 2004, it hit its peak at 29% of our calories eaten from home. So we're eating more calories out of the home over time. But as you can see here, from 94 to 96 and 2007 to 2008, it's 27, 29, 28. So we've kind of leveled off. We aren't quite as much anymore. And you can kind of see the same thing, not quite as strongly in the middle class, or middle income, sorry. And then your high income, we kind of see the same thing. There's a level off. There's a little less than 94, 96, but you're pretty well leveled, 34, 37, 35. Excuse me. So you have a lot of different variables, which I really like because that makes me believe that it's a little more accurate, that they've thought it through. Is they've done it over time by income, by gender, and then they've done their away versus home as well. My only other thing that they brought up during this study that they didn't talk about specifically was, and they mentioned it, and that's one of the reasons they even kind of countered their own credibility a little bit, I guess. They said that there's 2 things they didn't add into. They didn't add the calories that were, they also did by like who cooks at home, who doesn't, or how many people cook from home on average. And they showed that, or they mentioned that some of the surveys might not be accurate because, say, my husband and I were both surveyed, I would say, yes, I cook from home, and Duncan, my husband, would say, no, I don't cook from home, because he is in the same household, but he is not the cook of the house, so that could render the study to be a little inaccurate. The other thing they point out is meals that are technically eaten away from home. We buy, like for instance, me this semester, I've been buying a lot of technically freezer meals that are already made for me, but I just stick them in the skillet, let it sit for 10 minutes, and it's done. So technically that's eating away from home. That's not counted as a home-cooked meal. So that's why it's kind of also rendered a little bit inaccurate because some of the higher income families had a tendency to buy more of these meals because of both spouses working, or both head of household working, instead of being at home and being able to have the time to cook a homemade meal. Anyway, thanks. My name is Devin Stevens.